welcome everybody. Sorry we're having a few technical issues. Computer is really slow, so I decided to reboot it, and it took a while. So I still got paint on me. What? Oh, this one. So yeah, we are finally live again. I finally got the new camera set up. Because the other one was just, it would choose when to work and when not to work. And no, not right now, Tashi. Okay, fine. Come on. Come, you can say hi. You can say hi. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Okay, no, I don't want you on the desk because you'll make a mess. You'll make a mess. There you go. You happy? Huh? You happy? You can see everybody now? Yeah? Really? Okay. There you go. Okay. So today we are going to chat about the after effects of COVID. Being in the hospital in April, going to one hospital, getting some tests done, x-rays done, and then being thrown in an ambulance and sent off to another hospital was very surreal. It's something that I sometimes I have nightmares on. When you're lying there and you're all hooked up, you can't see your family. You've got a pervert that's lying beside you and kind of separated the room, which is room for one, but stick two people in there. Who, can't do his own sponge bath, has to have the cute nurse do it. You start to kind of think through life a little. I was anxious to get out. I really was. I was happy to get out. I hated being in there. It was way too long for me. But now I'm having a lot of side effects. Again, that was April. So that's what, 6 months. 6 months ago that I was in the hospital ICU. I'm tired. My body hurts a lot more. Like my joints. I'm getting a lot more pains. I'm getting a lot more headaches. When I first got out, I had no taste. I had no smell and no taste, and that was the weirdest thing. You eating food and it's just like, you can't taste it. It was just, everything was just, I don't know, kind of tastes like a sponge. You could feel the texture, but you just could not taste anything. And it was just weird. I was constantly hungry. Like when I went in, I lost 37 pounds and I gained 50 back. Since then, I've kind of lost some pounds, 5 pounds, but I was constantly hungry when I got out. I had to eat, and I couldn't stop. And that's not the way it was before, right? I'm getting coughing spurts, and the problem is when I cough, when I first got out, I was really dizzy, and to the point that I couldn't walk up the stairs. I actually had to hold the railings to walk up the stairs. And it was really scary that you're walking and your balance is just off. I'm walking down the street and I feel myself doing this as I'm walking. And my balance was just shot. My balance is fine now. Most of the time. Sometimes I lose my balance. And this is not stuff that I had before. The biggest thing that I'm having lately is the anxiety. I don't want to get again. So I'm wearing my mask. I'm careful what I do. I'm constantly cleaning my hands, because the last thing I want to do is end up back in that hospital. But the biggest thing lately is the dizziness. Going for hikes is hard for me, and it wasn't before. I get tired very easy. I'm not wearing my watch right now, but my heart rate gets really high. Simple little hikes, I'm winded. My muscles are sore. And it hurts, but I'm not letting it stop me. The dizziness is the one that really kind of gets to me. If I get up too fast, the room will spin. If I go down too fast, the room will spin, or whatever I'm in will spin. I was cleaning up my shocks the other day, just to paint them and stuff like that. And I went down to spray them, and everything just started spinning. I grabbed the wheel and to hold myself. Thank you, Sean. I'm glad I'm a little bit better too. But the thing was, when we went to, you won't see that video for probably about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, somewhere in there. When we went to the tunnels, we stopped and we got we went to McDonald's and eating the food, drinking, I'm driving. I had my pop, and hey, Claymere. And it went down the wrong way. I started to cough, and remember, I'm driving. Suddenly everything just went blank. I couldn't see the road. My head just went dizzy. Like if I cough now, I'll get dizzy. So I try not to cough. Like I feel I've got a cough, but everything will start to spin. I coughed when I'm driving, and everything went blank. I couldn't see. I knew there was no cars beside me, because I knew the cars were behind me somewhere. So I slowed down. I pulled over, and I cleared up enough that I could see where I was. And I coughed again. Same thing happened. So I was like, I can't cough. And it just went down the wrong way. That was scary for me. Very scary. And so I'm just going to answer your question here, Sean. I was very cautious and very, very cautious in the beginning. I was constantly sanitizing my hands, and I always did anyway. A little bit of a germaphobe, not much, but like I deal with people all the time. So I'm going to people's homes and I'm shaking hands and stuff. So I always have a container of sanitizer in my truck and by my desk, obviously. That I'm always cleaning my hands, right? And I was wearing my mask and everything. But the one place I went to was a store, and a big box store, and to get new glasses. And when you're trying your glasses on, you're supposed to put them down on the tray, and they're supposed to clean them. Doesn't mean they do. Dealing with a person at the counter, found out later that she actually had COVID. I just need to fix the green screen here. It is driving me nuts. It's off a little. There. Just a little bit of a flicker is driving me nuts. So that's where I think I got it from, was this box store. How it happened basically was I was just feeling tired. I lay down in my office on the couch, and I just had no energy. I wasn't hungry. I lay down, slept, and I slept, and I slept. I didn't eat. I lost 37 pounds. I got up, barely to go to the bathroom. And then that kind of slowly stopped as well because I wasn't eating or drinking. I guess I was coughing. I don't remember much. My wife said, enough is enough. You are going to the hospital. So she threw me in the car and took me to the hospital. I couldn't walk, so I had a wheelchair. She pushed me in. They did a bunch of tests, left me sitting in the hallway for what seemed like forever. It was probably about 20 minutes. Did x-rays, tests, and gave me oxygen. I spent the night there, and that morning they threw me in an ambulance, and they rushed me to a hospital that actually dealt especially with COVID cases. I got sent to the extreme ICU with COVID pneumonia. And what I remember was being thrown in an ambulance, and that at that point I was scared because I didn't think it was that serious. I didn't understand why the ambulance was doing 100 miles an hour plus down the road. It didn't make sense to me. When I got to the hospital, they wheeled me up to the extreme ICU, which was the 4th floor. 5 nurses right away suited up. I had IVs going into each arm. I had a catheter going in. I had sensors and air, and I felt like, I don't know, there was something seemed to be everywhere. That was where I realized, holy crap, this is serious. And you're lying there and you're going, what's going on? That's when you had the realization that it was scary. So it's kind of when I first figured that one out, Sean. It wasn't really me, it was more my wife. I've had both shots since. And I got sick off of the second one, I think it was. And basically it felt like COVID, but it was kind of crunched down. It is scary. It really is scary. Yeah. So when you're coughing, you're shutting your air off. And I guess I'm not using my full lungs. So I got to do more breathing exercises, because when I'm hiking, I'm breathing harder, but and that could be why the muscles aren't, they're sore and everything else too, because there's not enough oxygen getting to the muscles too. The dizziness one is the one that kind of scares me. And having these side effects, I don't know how long they'll last. I mean, I got my taste back finally. The anxiety is still there. I went over to my mother-in-law's place, and I love my mother-in-law to death. And she doesn't believe in getting the shot. And then my brother-in-law chirped up and started going on about all these things. And finally I snapped. And I broke down because I've had it. I don't want anybody else to have it. The thing that, and this, I kind of call it my PTSD, is being there and having a lady in the next room screaming and yelling and hollering, driving me nuts. Finding out the next day, and this is the COVID ward, finding out the next day that she passed away. That really hit me. That could be any of us in there. That could have been me. Not being able to see my family, not being able to see my son. First time I FaceTimed them was, I think, 2 or 3 days later. My son's face was just like, when he saw me, because I had the air and I had my gown, what there was of it, wires and everything. The look on his face is one of just shock and just wow. I mean, he was scared. When I sit down, I get dizzy. When I stand up too fast, I get dizzy. Moving around too fast. Like, I guarantee if I just turn my head too fast, I'd be dizzy. I know some people have complained about rashes and stuff like that. I haven't had any of those. I think one of the worst things, though, for this is the mental side of it. The mental setbacks, that everything that's going around you hear people that don't want to do it, and I'm the kind of person that's like, you don't want this. I've heard of people that pulled family out because they didn't want them to be in the hospital with COVID, and that person ended up dying. And again, I'm telling you my experiences. Everybody has different experiences. This is me personally going through it. Exactly, Julie. When you cough hard, you get dizzy. You're shutting your air off. I'm gonna turn my phone off. Was it after you went to the store you felt? Yes, it was. It was after I went to the store. Actually, maybe I should highlight some of these questions here. I'm not to you yet, Lance. I'm a little bit further back still. There. It was after the store that I went to get my glasses that I got sick. My son and I had, right after that, we took the cube van and we went over on a day trip, and we ended up traveling all day. We had to catch 2 ferries, and we ended up, I don't know how far it was 600 or 700 miles that we went. And it was a long trip. And that's where I really started feeling it was the end of that trip. When I looked back on the footage, I can see that. And this was after, I think this was this, I can't remember exactly, but it was after I had got my glasses fitted and all that. She had copied. You mean passed? Yes, the lady in the room beside me did pass due to COVID. And it was scary. No, Lance, I did not have a lot of mucus. The one thing that I do remember is when I got off my air, this sounds really gross, but the stuff that I had coming out of my nose was not pretty. It was disgusting. Like, you could see blood, you could see all the stuff, and I don't know if it was because of the air that was being forced in there or what, but it was gross. But I mean, I wanted to be able to smell, I wanted to be able to taste, so I'm like doing everything that I could to be able to do that. And that was kind of that as far as that goes. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of mucus or anything like that, Lance. What's this COVID is the symptoms had to be yeah, I was in the hospital. Well, I was in one hospital for 1 day. I was in the other hospital for 9 days. And I wanted out. I would have probably been there maybe 10, 11 days. And I wanted out. So when I got downgraded from ICU 4th floor extreme down to intermediate level 3 ICU, the nurses had told me that I had to have my oxygen level above this in order to consider even going home. And once my oxygen level was at 94, 96 or something like that, then it was 24 hours that I'd be released. So I was sitting roughly about, I think it was 23 or something like that. And I took my own air out because I wanted out of there so bad. I was so bored. I had work to do. I had guys that needed information. I had guys that needed to be paid. I had all the stuff that I needed to do. And I got to the point that it wasn't about me now. It was about everybody else. To the point when I got out the next day, I worked myself to the point that I was out the next day. I overworked myself. So it's an interesting thing. The panic attacks and the anxiety is real, yes. I am I have more anxiety now than I did before. My doctor probably explained it best by saying, you've just gone through a hurricane, and now you have to pick up all the pieces. I kind of knew what he meant, but when you look at when a hurricane goes through a town, you're picking up pieces that day or the next day, but you're still picking up pieces down the road, a month, 2 months. You're rebuilding 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, a year. Who knows how long it takes if you can get over some of the side effects. Oh, good. So that's the things that kind of make it difficult. Because you can't predict the long-term effects of COVID. Each person is different. I've heard of people having the joint pain, the body pains, the headaches. Yes, I have that. I've heard of the high blood pressure. I don't know. I haven't tested mine. I've heard of fevers. I haven't had any fevers. I've heard of tiredness, lack of energy. I have that. I am tired. I've got a lack of energy. Like going hiking, I'm barely hiking and I'm tired. I'm sore. I jumped on the bike with Cayden the other day to go to Taekwondo. Simple trip. Never had issues with it before. I was sore and I struggled. But I don't say anything. I don't know if it's the man in me or I don't want to complain. So nobody realizes that. I just man up and keep going. I don't know if that's the right thing to do either. I don't think it is. People having loss of taste and smell. I had that in the very beginning. I have it back now. Got my drink too. One thing I have noticed, I've started drinking more. I never was much of a drinker. And I mean, I would have my sambucas and stuff like that. But I've just noticed lately that I picked up a pack of, I'm not a beer person. I'm into like Smirnoff Ice or Mike's Hard Lemonades and stuff like that. But I've noticed myself drinking more of that lately too. I don't know if that's a side effect or not. I haven't heard that one yet. I've had shortness of breath, difficulty breathing. I've had, I've heard of people having chest pain, and coughing. I do get the coughing. I've heard of having a hard time with clarity, difficult thinking, being foggy. Sorry, I'm seeing questions on the other side here too, which I will get to. I do apologize. I got my StreamYard side and then my YouTube side here. So having that brain fog or foggy brain or whatever you want to call it, I've had that. I'm not remembering stuff as well. Simple little things that's like I wouldn't have a problem remembering that before. Which kind of bugs me because I've always been that kind of person that didn't have an eidetic memory, but had a very good memory of remembering everything. I heard of people having a rapid heartbeat, heart palpitations. I haven't had that. I've heard of people that had anxiety and depression. I have that. I have the anxiety. I don't have the depression, but I have the anxiety. The dizziness, the lightheadedness, I have that. It was really, really bad in the very beginning. Like I said, walking upstairs, I had to hold the railings and I was holding the wall in order to keep my balance and not falling. There were a couple times I almost did fall. Walking down the road, I literally felt like I was walking like this. My balance was just messed up. My driving, I could see fine, but it was my balance for myself that I couldn't. Standing up, you stand up too fast, dizzy. Get up too fast, dizzy. Turn around too fast, dizzy. Bending down too fast, dizzy. Like I said, I was just, spraying the shocks or the coils on my truck, and I went down spray can, and everything just started spinning. I grabbed the tire and just kind of stayed there because I knew as long as I'm here, I'm not going to fall over. But I felt like I was falling over. So that's a scary one. I've had no rashes on my skin. I'm trying to think what else. It's just basically, I think it's your physical and your mental that are the big ones. And you know what, Julie, that did a lot for me. It made me realize what a wonderful thing this is, that YouTube is. I got into and I'll do a chat on this one, why I got into YouTube. But I never realized, I never visualized, I never ever thought that I would have so many messages, so many text messages, so many phone calls, so many emails from people that said that they were praying for me, they were thinking about me, that I was in their thoughts. I never have had that. Between YouTube, my church, even my family, people I haven't heard from in a while. It was, I hate saying it. It was amazing that what happens when you are sick. And yeah. Welcome, Red. How are you? Am I caught up? There's a chat out manifests. I'm flexed. Yeah, it looks like I'm finally caught up. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. To answer that question, the percentage of effects that COVID causes is everywhere, from the sweats to some people have said they've had weight loss. Unfortunately, I've had weight gain. The pains, chills. I am a lot colder than before. Fatigue. That's been a huge one for a lot of people, is the fatigue. Just being more tired. Like I'm sore, but mostly it's my legs. that are sore that I never had before. And it's things like that that really bug me because I'm not the kind of person that lets that hold me back. But it does. It slows me down. And I don't like that. You look back in our videos where Cayden and I, we went and found a ghost town. We hiked 15 kilometers there. And I'm tired going on a 2 to 3 kilometer hike now. And yeah, no. The things that they tell you to do to recover are, just to keep working at it, to keep moving forward. But the problem is with COVID, it affects your heart. It affects your kidneys. It affects your lungs. That's where your complications come in. It affects all these things in your body, and it makes you so they say in the very beginning that some of the signs of COVID are some of the after effects now, but are your dizziness, which I have, your chest pains, your breathlessness, your fevers, your all this kind of stuff. I don't have the fever. And I was exhausted every single day, couldn't think, couldn't breathe. I could do one thing per day. I was finished. And that's how I feel. But for me, I don't have that option. I don't know. I don't know if it's the stubbornness in me, the Scorpio in me, whatever it is. I am not going to let something like this get me down. I keep pushing forward. I hurt. I'm dizzy. I keep going forward. I don't complain. I keep going forward. Lack of a better word, I man up. And I don't let it change me. I don't let it change my schedule. I don't let it change any of that. But it affects that. And I've got to remember that. So I've got to kind of work within that. That sets limitations. And I think the biggest thing with COVID is where it affects here. From the time you go in to the time you come out, this is the biggest thing that's getting affected. Because you are being isolated. You can't see. I luckily have my phone. My wife had to bring in my charger because it died. But you have your phone, so I ended up FaceTiming. If I didn't have that, I would have been in the hospital all that time, not seeing a single person. And that can mentally destroy you. I have never been away from my son for more than a couple hours. With school and stuff now, yeah, he's away. I'm away. But when you are 9, 10, 11 days away from your family, that can mentally destroy you. As well as when they aren't used to you being away either, that's tough on them. Cayden ended up acting out in school. He was scared. he didn't know what was going to happen to me. And my worry was my family. It wasn't as much me, it was my family. And it's scary. Red, when did you have it? March. Yeah, about the same time, Be Bear. Huh. Interesting. I got to the point that a lot of the symptoms, like the taste, I got that back. The dizziness went away till a couple weeks ago. I was always I would kind of baby it. So I wouldn't get up too fast because I knew that I would get dizzy. So, and that comes with your lungs not being able to operate fully. You're not getting as much air. So even if I hold my breath for just a second, things will start to spin. And it's not having that reserve in order for everything to work. And that's where your dizziness comes in. That's where a lot of things come in to play, is everything that's working around your lungs, your breathing, etc. There's I'm kind of going back and forth. I don't have the chat on this one really. I kind of do. I'm kind of going back and forth. So I'm reading more the YouTube side of it. The huge things with COVID are what I'm calling the long-term effects. They don't just go away. They are there. They are, I don't know how long they're going to stay. And the longer this pandemic goes, I don't know if that's going to aid this. When I'm going out, I'm wearing a mask. It's restricting my air, which I'm fine with as far as protecting myself. But when you're having a harder time to breathe and you're breathing a lot more because you're out of air because you're hiking or whatever, you're climbing it, you're walking up a hill or whatever it is, I have to open my mask up. I'm not around people. I'm fine. I'm 6 feet away. But I really notice it. And that part scares me. I'm all for keeping the things that we need to keep in place in order to bring this to as much of an end as possible. But we need to do this together. I know healthy people, like they're triathletes, I should say, that have gotten it, and they haven't come back as themselves. And everybody's different. Every instance is going to be different. Everybody's going to have different levels of it. When we went and got tested, we all came back positive. My wife, my son, and I. My son, Cayden, nothing. My wife had some symptoms, but she didn't end up in the hospital. She was maybe sick for a day. I'm the one that ended up in the hospital. I'm the one that ended up fighting to breathe, for air, for everything. And she works in an industry that she sees hundreds of people a day. I don't. I work in construction. I have my own business. I deal with a few guys. I deal with clients. I maybe see a handful of people a day. The subs are there. It depends on the day if they're on site or not, but I'm not always there either. So it just kind of baffles me in some ways. Took me 3 months to be able to function again. Didn't find a lot better till my second shot. Yeah, I got sick. The first shot, I think I got a little sick. The second shot, I got really sick. But it was only there for a couple days. I think 2 days or something like that. But it's the funny thing was my doctor sent me in for tests, and I had to go for some blood tests, and they have all these questionnaires. So I went in the clinic. I'm wearing my mask, and the questions are, have you been out of the country? No. Have you been exposed to COVID or know anybody that's had COVID in the last 2 weeks? Yes, me. She stands there and looks at me, and she's like, I said I had a negative test, and everybody else is sitting inside the waiting room. She's like, can you go wait outside? I'm like, sure. And I was like, okay. And then she gets me a private room, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. Person comes in, they take their blood, which wasn't a lot. I got blood taken every day in the hospital. I felt like when I left the hospital, I didn't have any left. I got shots. I got pills. I got the finger pricked every day or twice a day. I don't even remember. I got a blood clotting shot in my stomach every night at like 2 a.m. or something like that. But anyway, she takes her blood. I'm leaving. The lady's like, can everybody move out of the doorway, please? I just turned and looked at her and just like, it's like, wow. The lack of education. It's like, okay, I'm not touching anybody. I'm not breathing on anybody. I came out with a negative result. I'm here for blood tests. I did have to quarantine for, what was it? 5 days, I think it was, or 7 days after I got out of the hospital, which was kind of tough. You come home and you're isolated. I still ate with my family. I just couldn't really hug them. I couldn't do any of that because I didn't want to get them sick either. So, those are the things to kind of think about. I'm Canadian. But no, I know what you're saying. We have such a divide right now in the world, not just the US, not just Canada, over this. And I mean, in the US, you have such a huge divide over political stuff. There's such a huge divide over COVID, whether you get a vaccine or not, whether you wear a mask or not. This is no different than polio. This is no different than measles. This is no different than SARS. This is no different than influenza. All these stuff that we've had to. SARS was pretty much cut short, but all these other ones we've had to have shots for. I've talked to people that's like, I'm not getting shots. You were born getting shots. You were getting shots when you were a baby. You were getting shots all this time, like till you were a certain age. You always had this kind of stuff. They got chickenpox shots. They got measles. They got all the stuff that you are getting, polio. Unless you decided not to, or your parents decided not to, you've had shots. So it's we've got such a huge, and I don't know if it's lack of information. I don't know what it is. For me personally, having had it, I wanted to get the shot. I did not want to get it again. It scared the hell out of me. And I do not want to go back there. I've never, ever been in the hospital overnight. I've never been in the hospital, let alone 10 nights. I've never been away from my family that long. I've never been away from my son that long. My dog that long. It was a experience that I don't want to repeat. And I don't want to see others go through it. Life is too precious. We need to do what we can to preserve that. But this is something, politics, and this is what pulling friends apart, was pulling families apart. I'm Canadian. I posted a silly little cartoon on my Facebook page. And a friend of mine of 25, 30 years didn't like it. It's my personal page. It's me having fun. I didn't complain about stuff she posted. I didn't raise a big fuss. It's her stuff. She got mad at that and said to me, we are no longer friends. A friend that I've had for 25 to 30 years. I think we became friends in 85, something like that. Over something so stupid. You're giving up a friendship. I've been there through all 3 of her marriages and 2 of her divorces. I've been there as a friend, and that's all just thrown away because I can't have a little bit of fun on my own page. My page. Not hers. That's her view. Whatever. My page. I'm Canadian. I can't vote. Not in the States. But I can have an opinion. But everybody has an opinion. So it is what it is. But not to get rid of a friendship. So that makes me really look at that friendship and going, was it real? I don't know. Exactly, Julie. COVID affects people differently. Everybody has different rate of it. The guy that came in the same time as me was out before me. He was older than me. He didn't have the same symptoms as me. He had more energy than me. It was different. So what I had cannot be compared to what somebody else had. I have a friend of mine that he had it as well. He had to leave the hospital with his air. He had to, I think he was in the hospital roughly about the same amount of time as well. But they sent him home with oxygen. I didn't. So everybody's different. It affects everybody at a different level. And that's what's scary. That lady that was beside me in the other room, she's not going home to her family. She didn't get to say goodbye to her family. And as you're lying there, these are things that start going through your mind. You hear that person that you heard that was driving you nuts because they were screaming and hollering, you find out passed. And now those thoughts that you had, you start to regret. Because they were in pain. And for that, it really bugs me because that wasn't being a nice person. I never said it to her. I thought a lot. But it's not something that I'm proud of. Because she ticked me off. She was loud. She was noisy. I couldn't sleep. I mean, I couldn't sleep much anyway, but I can't convince my kids to get vaccinated. It's so stupid. My pregnant daughter finally.
Daddy?
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I've got friends. I mean, she's pregnant. She doesn't want to get the shot. I've heard that it's supposed to be okay for when you are pregnant. I don't know. It's there we go. It's something that we need to have more education on. We need to educate people better. Here in Canada, I feel that things have been going a bit backwards. When this thing first started, we should have started with our closures. We should have started with our masks. We should have started with all this stuff instead of just running kind of as normal and then shutting everything down and then going to masks and then going to vaccines. It's mixed up. It's messed up. But they don't want to scare people. My son's last year was in school. And the year before school the end of last year. Last year? No. Anyway, one of those years. I've even lost track now. The end of last year's school, which would have been the year before's, but it was all online. Then he went back to school last year for the new school year, and being grade 3, he was about the only one in his class that was wearing a mask. Because he saw what happened to me. So that's his choice. Which really bugged him, that people weren't wearing masks. And people would make fun of him for it. I've always told him to be a strong person. Don't let words get to you. And he's a strong boy. He's in Taekwondo. He's studying to get his black belt, but he doesn't use that stuff. That's stuff that he has, but he doesn't abuse it either. This year, now, K to 12, everybody has to wear a mask. That's this year. What happened to last year? Things are happening in the wrong order. That's why this thing's going to keep going, because I know they're trying to do things a little bit different, but it's things that can lead to a lot of issues. Canada isn't as political as the US. We just had elections. One side is basically saying, you know what, we don't believe in masks and stuff like that. Not everybody should have to wear them. And the other side was like masks. Well, the mask side won, but that's not what it's about for politics. But it was, I found it interesting that they would go after all the people that aren't wearing masks and aren't vaccinated as a political party. I mean, that's not what you're there for. But yeah, it's not as political as the US. The US, like you can drive down to Linden, which is just across the border, and you'll see like every second house with a Canadian or a American flag. In Canada, you can drive a couple miles or more, and you might see a flag. We did a renovation last year, and they had a flag on their house. But you don't see that pride in the country as you do in the US. Unless, of course, it's like Canada Day or something like that. Now, this weekend is Canadian Thanksgiving. November is American Thanksgiving. And that confuses a lot of people. See, I went to school in the States. So I know all the different holidays for Canada and the US. So it's kind of nice to celebrate both. But yeah, this weekend on Monday is our Canadian Thanksgiving. So there are some holidays and some differences. But it turns out that'll be a nice long weekend. So get some rest and relaxation. But we, as far as COVID goes, my biggest thing is just to keep pushing forward, to keep going. Like I've noticed it with my adventures. Like I didn't go do an adventure last weekend. I was just too tired. But I wanted to go, but I didn't. So this weekend, I'm getting interviewed by Hitchweb. They want to interview me on what it's like adventuring with a young kid and a dog. So we're doing that interview for them. And Hitchweb is a Canadian company that deals with a lot of overlanding and off-roading supplies, from tents and a whole bunch of different things. Hitchweb.ca. I actually haven't even bought anything from them. So it's not a paid thing. It's not sponsorship. It's just them reaching out to a channel that has a young kid. Cayden's 9 years old, and what it's like to adventure with a dog and a kid. So we'll be doing that interview on Sunday. Maybe, I don't know if I can or not. I'll try, depends on the reception. Try to see if I can do a live doing it. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'll see what I can do. And then maybe tomorrow we'll go on an adventure. Or maybe even Sunday after that. We'll see. And then Monday's Thanksgiving. So, and I do some work in there. I've pretty much caught up with all my editing. I have videos actually posted till December right now. I just finished editing a video today, and it is set to go for December 6th. So that's how far ahead I am right now. And that was the one we just did. Oh, maybe was it last weekend? No, weekend before. Yeah, the weekend before, 2 weeks ago. And that's the video that will be out December 6th. So that tells you basically how far ahead I am right now on my videos, which is good. But yeah, my biggest thing is I want to start getting back into shape. I want to start not feeling so weak. Like I'm sitting there trying to open a I don't have one. Oh yeah. A bag from Amazon, just trying to rip it, and I don't have the strength to do it. That's sad. Really sad. And okay, ouch. Okay, fine. You can say hi again. Okay. Oh, there. You can say hi. Yes, you can say hi. You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi? Huh? You say hi? Yes. Okay. Did you get that out of your system now? Want to go back down? Okay. There you go. That's one of my adventure partners. My other adventure partner is Cayden, my son, which he will appear in 5, 4, 3. He'll appear in 5 seconds. Cayden.
What?
He'll appear in 5 seconds.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There he is. Maybe not. And he's going to grow. I'm going to make him grow. Grow. This side, please. Cayden, come on. Stand up. A 9-year-old that thinks he's 20. And this is the other part of our adventure team. Can you say hi? So yeah. This is what we do. We love to adventure. We love to get out there. We love to have fun. And I want to continue that. I want to get better, back into shape. I want to put COVID behind me as much as possible. I know that some of these things might end up lasting a while, but I don't want it to limit me, and I'm trying not to have it limit me. And that's the biggest thing for me, is to push forward and to keep pushing forward and to see what happens. There's not many of us right now with a lot of pride, at least not where I live. More people. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm Canadian. I've met him. I've read his books. I know what kind of person he is. I've dealt with one of his companies before. I worked with one of his companies before, which is no longer. And I've got my own opinions set on that. I don't know for myself, and I don't want to get all political, because I'm Canadian, I don't know what he was like as a president. So that's where I draw the line. My opinion is set on everything that I've had to do with him, from meeting him to dealing with one of his companies, his book, and all that stuff. So that's where my opinions come from a personal point of view, nothing more. Did I get paid? What do I get paid for? Did you get paid? I haven't been paid. I don't know for what. If I'm getting paid for the interview, no. If that's what you're talking about, it's just something I'm doing to help them out. Working with him. No. I used to own a modeling agency, and I ended up working with Trump Model Management. It was team model management, whatever you want to call it. And we ended up going to a lot of events together. I never dealt with him on that. That was just one of his companies. And a lot of the people were really nice. But there were other issues there as well. And I never ended up meeting him on that. I ended up meeting him in other places. I met Hulk Hogan. I just wish I would have gotten a picture or a signed autograph. I just wasn't that kind of person. It's like, here, can you sign this? I've never been that kind of person. And I've got some friends that are on TV that are actors that have their own TV shows. But it is what it is. It's them. And I treat them as if they are who they are. I don't care what it is they do. It's just they're friends. So Walla Walla. Oh, Walla Walla Community College. Yeah, because there's Walla Walla Adventist. What is it? Walla Walla. I think it's just called Walla Walla College. I can't remember. I'm at Hulk Hogan, or you met Hulk Hogan at Walla Walla Community College. Yeah, so I mean, I've got friends that graduated through Walla Walla College, not community college, but the Adventist college there. I've got friends that met there. I've got friends that are still there. I've got a comedian friend of mine there, who still lives there. And yeah, I've had cousins that went there. I've been there. I never went to school there though. Walla Walla, Washington, yeah. Is Walla Walla in Washington? Yeah, it is. It's past Yakima. But yeah. So Vancouver is just like BC is above Washington. I went to school in Seattle, so technically I went to school in Auburn, but yeah. So because of COVID, because of everything, with the borders being shut down, which most likely aren't going to open this year, I had an aunt that passed away, and she lives down in Seattle, and one of my favorite aunts, and I couldn't go to her funeral. Her husband was a Marine. They wanted to have their funeral together, and I didn't get to go, and that's sad. But yeah. What's this one for? It's for a book. I printed off a label, but it must be for one of my other things. My desk is an absolute mess. One of my things I want to do this weekend is get my desk and my office clean. But I want to wrap this up. We're past an hour. I always try to keep these to an hour, unless sometimes my interviews do tend to go long. I've had some really cool interviews throughout, and we will be getting back to our interviews shortly, probably in November, because I will be gone for a little bit. I'm going on a vacation, which I'm stressing out about. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. I know this is not a popular topic. I don't scare off from these conversations because I've been there and I've had it. So I'm speaking from my experience. Everybody has a different experience, and I'm not scared to tell people about my experience. And I want to educate people as much as possible. I want people to do as much as possible so they don't end up where I ended up. That's my goal. So I want to leave you guys with one thing, and that is don't live by the what ifs in life. Life is short. Life is hard. Life is not easy. But if you live by the what ifs, you're always going to wonder. You're going to wonder, what if I would have done that? What if I would have, gone out, and what if I would have seen this? What if I would have done that? Get out and do it. And as we always like to say, get out and do epic shit. And that's what's important, is making an impact on your own life. For me, my impact is getting my son away from a TV, an iPad, a phone, getting him out into nature, experiencing things that other kids don't get to experience, and having him enjoy that fun, that thrill, and seeing his face when he discovers these new things, when he comes face to face with a bear, when he finds a ghost town, when he gets to have a deer eat out of his hands, when he gets to see old dilapidated buildings and train cars and old tunnels, old bridges, etc., etc. That is something that he'll remember the rest of his life. And that's what's important to me, is creating those memories of something different. I'm not going to be around forever, but I want those memories of me and him to be something that he is going to remember the rest of his life. And he's going to look back and he's going to do the same thing with his kids. I think that's what's important. And that is why we are on this adventure. That is why we are out trying to discover new things. That's why we say, get out and do epic shit. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming in and joining us. And once again, if you haven't checked it out, check out our YouTube channel, Vancity Adventure. I'll throw it up on the bottom banner here. Here's our website, vancityadventure.ca. Here's our YouTube channel, Vancity Adventure. No matter where you go, you can find that there. You can find merchandise and stuff on our website. You can find our adventures of myself, Cayden, and Tosha. That's where you can buy merchandise on our website. You can buy stickers, sweaters, shirts, hats, whatever you want to do. You can even get your own Do Epic hat. Where is it? There it is. Ah, right there. See? You kind of see it. Do epic shit. So once again, people, thank you so much for joining us. I know this isn't for everybody, and I understand that. But be safe. Do your part if you can, and enjoy life. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you on, another episode. Watch our videos as well. See you guys, or join our memberships. Bye.